Between the words action and cut, I'm always in heaven. You know Benihana restaurant where the chef comes up to your table and it cuts the meat and celery and it makes the dish at the point of sale? That's an actor. Dragon Ball Evolution. Really horrible film. The one good thing about the entire thing is that almost no one saw that picture.
If you were given the chance to star in a new live action Dragon Ball, but it has the budget and the scope of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, would you play Piccolo's Damasu or would you take the shot at someone else? I love how we coordinated our outfits for today. And this is, so we're very, we're very in sync right now, you know?
Yeah, I'm cosplaying Johnny Cash. I don't think no one gets it.
Well, James, first off, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to be here with me. And I also want to give you another thank you for making my last lockdown infinitely better, because I recently binge watched Smallville and you were my favorite character on there. I was a little bit disappointed that you didn't get more episodes, but it is what it is, right? But
yeah, I'm very expensive, so they often talk about me a lot, and they don't show me all the time.
So to be honest, I thought this interview was going to be in person, so I actually have a gift for you. Maybe I'll give it to you over the weekend, depending on how COVID protocols are. Worst case scenario, I'll get one of my carrier pigeons, then I'll give it to like one of the PR guys, and then, they can hook you up. I heard you like Pez.
Yeah.
And I got you a Pez dispenser that I feel like you can explain the significance behind it.
Wait. Oh, yeah. That's the most kick-ass character of all Winnie the Pooh, man. He's the punk rock character in Winnie the Pooh, baby. He's all like, oh, life sucks. He's the first emo character ever invented. And I played him in the 4th grade. It was the first character I ever did. And I was very serious about it. I really wanted to get the pathos behind the character. So I was like the one method actor in 4th grade. Probably annoying as hell.
It's safe to say that was kind of your realization of like, dang, I like this acting thing. Oh, sort of your, origin story of like why you do what you do, right?
Yeah, that was my first taste and I liked it a lot. And it was 2 years later, when I was in 6th grade, that I was doing a musical called The Me That Nobody Knows, which was actually a really good musical. All of the speeches are written by inner city kids. And then professional songwriters, Broadway songwriters write songs based on those speeches. And then they have, young actors try to perform them. And I was out on the, staring at the audience, out on the apron, singing my song. And I just had this sense of connectedness with the audience, that we on the stage and the audience, we were basically all in the same room, trying to make kind of a party happen, trying to come together and have fun together that night and see each other. And that was just infectious. And that's still what I love about acting, is the connection.
I love that. We all have these sort of defining moments or chapters in our lives that kind of, resonate with us. With that said about like defining moments, I have to ask, how was performing Troilus and Cressida at Julliard a defining moment for you?
Oh, Jesus. That is what got me kicked out of Julliard. I had come from a really good training program in California at the Pacific Conservatory of the Performing Arts, and I was used to being in plays that didn't suck. And Troilus and Cressida was looking like it was going to be horrible. And I couldn't figure it out because Julliard is supposed to be the best of the best. And I thought I was under the delusion that I was supposed to fix it. And so I stood up and I told the cast and the director that this play is horrible and we got to actually try to make it worth watching. We got to stop screwing around here. And they thought I thought that's what I was supposed to do, but they thought I was just this uppity young actor who was better than everybody else. And they tortured me for 2 years and then kicked me out.
And then, hey, fast forward in the future, you're filming P.S. I Love You, staying at an undisclosed location like you are now. And it kind of came all full circle, didn't it?
Yeah, I was in a hotel that was right across the street from Julliard. And I couldn't open the window. I would have wanted to open it and spit across the street, But I have to say, I was doing an HBO pilot with this young actress who had just graduated from Juilliard. She assured me that it was a really good program now, because it's been a while since I was at the school. And so when they had their 50-year anniversary, they invited me to come, and I found that it was true. It was an entirely different cast of characters, and they were really, really supportive of actors. So today, Julliard, yesterday, but it ain't yesterday, it's today. So it's a good place now.
The most random place you've ever had a quote unquote fan interaction?
That's a good question, man. I've had so many, I don't know what qualifies as the most random. There's really no place it doesn't happen. And it's all fine, you know? It's all great, dude, except when your heart is broken. That's when it sucks. Like when your cat dies or your girlfriend breaks up with you and you just want to be alone in your own pain, you know, and then someone's like, hey, how you doing? I remember walking down the street and I was just depressed because both of those things had happened. My cat had died, my girlfriend had broke up with me. It was a really dark period. And I was just, you know, sloughing down the street and someone's like, hey, Spike. And I was like, I'm not even going to say hi. And I kept walking, Spike. And I just like, oh no, just let me get to my car. And then I heard, you asshole, you know, like, so to that person, I'm an absolute jerk because I wasn't able to kind of be present with them at the moment. But most days it's just fine, you know. It's kind of nice to be recognized for anything I did.
Of course, and with a character as iconic as Spike, you know, you're gonna obviously get so many different people approaching you. Looking at like the scope of all these iconic vampires like Spike, Edward Cullen, Elena Gilbert, Blade, like Count Chocula, you know, so many iconic vampires. So before I preface my next question, have you seen Squid Game on Netflix?
I've watched some of it, yeah, and it was like really good when they were in the Squid Games, and then they like went home and started like being with their family. I was like, well, I'm not even interested. I want them back in I want the bullets again. So like, tell me, does it get back to like exciting, or are they just going to be talking about their feelings for a while?
No, they get back into it, but I don't want to spoil it for you. So I'll let you finish the series. But that prefaces my question with all the iconic vampires I mentioned. If you want to throw in some more, feel free. Who would win in an all vampire Squid Game battle royale type setting?
Oh, Spike would, because I demoralized them with superior dialogue before the fight.
I was expecting that answer. You know, I was like, you know, no bias at all, but like, you know what? I'm inclined to agree with you on that one.
I would just, I just rip them with really good jokes that I wouldn't write. They'd be written for me, but I would just say stuff that they would just, they'd be like, oh, I'm not that witty. Oh dear, I can't say those things. Yeah.
Yeah, there's, like I said, there's so many iconic vampires in so many like shows and movies. Speaking of movies, have you ever walked into the wrong premiere of one of your movies?
Yeah, one time. It was for a really horrible film called Dragon Ball Evolution, which I will not defend because it's indefensible. And my son was a Dragon Ball Z fan, so he was very excited to see his father play Piccolo. And he ran into the theater, and my daughter and I were on his heels. We got into the theater, and it's opening night, and I'm thinking, you know, oh man, give us half a house, man. If we can just build on half a house on opening night, maybe there'll be enough legs that we'll get to do the next 2 films, because it was contracted to do 3 of these. And I walk in, and it's completely sold out, and it smells like body odor and hot dogs. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. And we sit down, find 3 seats together, which was almost impossible. And something goes off in my head, and I think, this is too good to be true. And I lean over to the 13-year-old next to me, and I'm like, hey, dude, let me ask you a question. Is this Dragon Ball? And he's like offended. He's like, what? Is this Dragon Ball? He's like, no, man. Jeez, this is Fast and Furious, man. And so I had to do the daddy walk of shame out of the theater, cross the aisle, and I'm like, oh Lord, just give me a quarter house. I don't want to ask for too much. Just some people in there. And we walk into the theater, and then, including the 3 of us, there's 5 people watching it. Oh, no. Which, in hindsight, that's the one good thing about the entire thing, is that almost no one saw that picture, and I'd like to keep it that way.
Well, for what it's worth, in case you couldn't see my my little shelf right there, I'm kind of a Dragon Ball fan. But in my defense, sorry to interrupt you, but I played Zamasu in Dragon Ball Super.
So I have redeemed myself in some measure.
You have. And that actually segues perfectly into my next question. So if you were given the chance to star in a new live action Dragon Ball, but it has the budget and the scope of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so many possibilities with it, would you play Piccolo, Zamasu, or would you take the shot at someone else?
I would like to go do Piccolo correctly.
Yeah.
I really would. What a great character. I mean, what a great arc. I mean, you start with King Piccolo, who's just a jerk, a weazened old man jerk, and then you get to transform into a warrior, a young warrior, who's nevertheless kind of a jerk, but then ends up doing the right thing and helping to raise Gohan. And be a good father figure. I mean, it's just a really cool story. And I would definitely be Piccolo in Cell Cycle, Dragon Ball Z.
Nice. That would be great. Who would be your Gohan? Or is that too much of a loaded question for that?
Oh, man, I don't know. You'd have to, I don't know that the actor would be known right now because they'd have to be very young. They'd have to be, what, 9 years old probably?
Yeah, maybe.
Something like that. So they're probably, you just have to cast a wide net, yeah. I don't know. So
for what it's worth, it is actually, I don't know if this is a shameful admission or not, but you as Piccolo in Dragon Ball Evolution was my first performance I ever saw of you. And even though the movie was like, I thought you smashed it, man. I thought you smashed it. So like,
man, I tried. I really tried. I was wanting to, oh God. It's trying to fight back the idea that this is going to suck as bad as I feared it's going to suck, and just being like, man, I'm not giving up. I'm going to do the Piccolo that I think. Oh my God. Thank you. That means a lot, actually. I really did try to do that. Yeah.
I mean, it shows, right? Because like I said, you're my favorite character on Smallville. So it kind of makes sense. This guy is a Milton fine actor. Oh, that was my pun for the day.
We went to Japan to premiere this thing, and it was like 5,000 people that we're watching it with. Film gets done, and there's a smattering of polite applause. And I'm like, what? Oh, man. And I've come to appreciate the fact of how offensive that movie must have been in Japan to the local population, how far afield it was, and how lucky we were that they weren't pelting us with rocks. You know, how gracious they were to just be like, and we get to leave now. Yeah.
Out of all the different acting mediums, though, all the ones you've done anyway, so like film, television, theater, which one is your favorite and why?
Theater. Just because you're driving the train in theater, the truth is in theater, the playwright could be dead, the director could be dead, the producer could be dead, all the props could not show up, the costumes could be stolen, the sets could have fallen down. As long as there's not enough light to see the actors, and as long as the actors have a good script and know it well, you have something that you can sell for money. It's like when I'm a theater actor, Benihana restaurant? It's like where the chef comes up to your table and it cuts the meat and the celery and the onions, and it makes the dish at the point of sale. That's an actor. And all of the script and the props and the costumes, and those are just your ingredients that you mix up every night and make a fresh meal out of. And when I'm a film actor, I'm just a piece of celery that an editor is going to go and chop up and make the thing that's worth money. And so it's a different job. You have to be the most honest, fresh little piece of celery you could possibly be. And that's not easy, actually. But I do like to tell the story. I like to be the chef. It's just there's not a lot of money, and I got 2 kids in college. And frankly, filming is delicious, too. The toys are huge, and I have to pinch myself. And I'm in heaven. Between the words action and cut, I'm always in heaven. It doesn't really matter how late it is or what the script is, actually, just that I get to do my thing. I love my job, and I'm lucky anyone wants to pay me money for it.
That might be the single greatest analogy I've heard in terms of like comparing film, TV, and theater. So thank you for that. James, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I just have one last question for you, and it's pretty easy. What makes James Marsters a civilized man?
Okay. Not telling everyone what I'm thinking at all times. This is the art of being a nice person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to edit yourself. And that's the great thing about playing villains, is that I'm paid to barf all that stuff out and just kind of get it out. If I was playing heroes all the time, I'd have to pretend to be nice all the time, even in front of the camera. I don't know where all that stuff would go. But playing a villain, I love doing that. Just tell them what you really think.
Oh, I love that. James, thank you so much for letting me tell your story. It's artists like you that inspire me in what I'm doing. And to quote a famous French revolutionary, you can't change a nation without changing the hearts of the people. So
there you go, Robespierre, baby. Who was another jerk, but he did write a good revolution.